ago or something, I ran a training with you guys where I was covering pension maximization and was just like, this is how easy it is. And pretty much, I'm saying this elegantly, but Tyson kind of wanted me to get in front of you guys, not to like embarrass me, but to kind of show, hey, I was not prepared. And I kind of like went to fight a lion with a plastic fork and was just totally unprepared. And so where I'm at now, 30 days later, thank God we build a team. Thank God we don't do this just by ourselves. I had another pension case come into my lap through a teammate of ours simultaneously. In fact, like the week after I initially presented and started working on this military case. And so I was able to take the mistakes that I made from this one where I was kind of trying to do stuff on my own and then like correct it along the way. But all that being said, so 30 days ago or whatever it was, I sat across the table from this initial case from the military pension. And meeting number two, I'm just like, hey, you've got a pension. There's a survivorship option. It costs $225 a month, and I'm going to do it for you for cheaper. And just immediately jumped into a VUL illustration, which is like, hey, I'm gonna have kids with you, so we're gonna get married. I know this is like our second date, but anyways, here's what our kids are gonna like do in their future. Like, whoa, way too quick. Let's slow down. And so I finally got them back in the office last week. I don't even remember how it was. I think I just like shot him a text and was just like, hey, you said you were gonna get back with me, and let's do something. And so we got him back in the office. But I knew for a fact I had one chance to potentially do business or at the least plead my case to make this work. We ran the meeting 30 days ago, showed them this illustration, and like you would expect, they were like, "Why are we buying life insurance? It's $300 a month. This is crazy expensive. Like, why would we do this? This makes zero sense. Like, let me call my cousin's neighbor's, best friend's dog and find out if he has any information about this." So I kind of scared them off, but got them back here last week. But I knew for a fact I had to know that illustration backwards and forwards, upside down, in four different languages. I needed to be ready to go. And so when they came in last Thursday, I came in with the expectation that I was the expert. I came in with the expectation that I am the professional, but I also came in knowing for a fact I was not taking advantage of the client and I was doing what, in my opinion, was going to be the best interest based on the information that I know in my career. I know that I had nothing in my heart that was to sell them something, to take advantage, or to do some type of a thing to pull a fast one on them. And so when they came in last week, we caught up for about 30 seconds, and I just said, "Okay, lay it on me." Yeah, and sure enough, the wife pulled out a paper and she had questions. She was ready to go. And her first statement was, "I'm going to let you know now there is nothing about this that makes me feel comfortable that this is permanent life insurance." And I just smiled like I was getting my spankings. And I just said, okay, what else? Keep talking, and just let it out. Tell me what you don't like about what I did last week. And then from there, we then walked through each thing one after another. But I knew that I wasn't letting them leave the office until I, one, made my case, but two, made them know that whatever route we go moving forward, I'm here to help you. I'm not here to sell something to you. I'm not here to take advantage of you. And so she immediately jumped into like the cost that we're putting into it. Hey, the pension's 225, you're telling me 300. And so I was able to pull up the illustration. I had it already pulled up on my computer and we just walked through the numbers. But overcoming these objections, I can tell you confidently 30 days ago, I would have totally fumbled this. 60 days ago, I wouldn't have known where to start. And so the information that I've been able to gather from this, the knowledge and wisdom has unequivocally allowed for me to handle anything about pensions moving forward. I've learned a lot, but because of all of that learning, I was able to confidently look her in the eye and say, "Hey, I know what I'm talking about, but I'm also here to talk with you, not at you." So she came out with came out with me about permanent life insurance. Well, she's like, well, why can't we buy term and invest the difference? Well, here's kind of the scenarios we got to walk through. And so I walked through all of these things. But the biggest things that I was able to pick apart was reading body language, but also asking further questions. So one of the things she said was, hey, I did some research, which is code for I didn't do research. She said, I looked up what it costs to get life insurance on a healthy 46-year-old male. And it said 75 to like $130 a month. I'm like, okay. And just like took her at her word and was like, well, hey, like this is, for you guys, the first 10 years in a permanent policy, there's that per 1,000 charge. That's kind of the big thing in there. Um, but I just showed her, hey, like this is a breakdown of the cost. It's like $128 a month and then it drops off. Later in the meeting, I went back to this and was ready to just give them a term quote and walk out the door. And I had said, you made a mention of you did some research. Can I just ask, like, where'd you go? And her tail got between her legs. She got red as all get out, and she said, I went to AI. And I said, she said, I went to ChatGPT and just typed in a 46-year. And I'm like,
I
okay, well,
called
hey,
it. I
Jenny.
knew. I was going to say ChatGPT.
Yeah. And so I said, well, hey, Jenny, like, okay, well, if, and we just kept going back and forth, back and forth. And at this point, I mean, the meeting started at 6:30. This was like 7:50. Like I was here in over an hour in, I'm pleading my case. I'm making it known, like, I'm here to help you. And at this point, I literally just pulled up Nationwide's website and pulled up a quote and showed it right next to the VUL and was like, hey, we can get a 30-year term for $107 a month that falls in line between these two parameters. But that's freaking expensive for 500 grand. The permanent policy is for 200, but I'm like, hey, that's not really an exciting number. Pulled up Crump. Guess what? It was like $70 a month. So I'm like, okay. And so I said, well, hey, you said it was like 75 to whatever. Like, can you tell me more? How much was the death benefit? And she's like, I don't really remember. I'm like, okay, well, like we're comparing apples and Lamborghinis. Like these are two completely different things. Like you got to tell me what you searched. So it came out that it was a $500,000 term for 20 years. And it said 75 to whatever. And so then I put in Crump, 500,000 death benefit for 20 years. And it immediately spit out, and she got to see this. I clicked next, and it showed, I think, 17 different carriers, and 14 of the 17 were under $60 a month. And I looked at her and I said, well, tell your robot I just found 14 companies that can beat what it just told you. And the husband at this point, which is who has the pension, is my personal friend, he started cracking up. And so, like, hey, we're breaking down some layers, all of that, that's something that I feel like Tyson would be able to do is like balance that, like, I'm kind of saying it in your face, but very elegantly and so I wouldn't just do that with anybody. And so I kind of felt in the moment, it kind of like loosened the tension, but also then showed, hey, your robot's lying to you. It's not giving you accurate info. I'm the professional. I'm the person licensed to do this for you. And I'm showing you that I can provide this value better than what you're looking up. And so we just kind of walked through all this, but I was ready. And they could have stayed until like 2 a.m. with rebuttals, and I was ready to walk through all of them. We went through what's the absolute minimum. We ran a VUL illustration instead of $300 a month. We did it at 225, the same cost as what the pension would be. Blew it out of the water still. We dropped it down a little bit. I showed, hey, there's a death benefit guaranteed premium in the first 20 years. It's like $114. I'm like showing them, hey, we can do all these different things. And so there, like if we had a scoreboard, it was like 400 points to like a half. I was very well prepared. And I don't think if this would have happened 30 days ago, I would have kind of come as prepared as I did. And so where we've left it off is I literally printed off some quotes from Crump and said, hey, I left it off and said, I'm not here to sell you something. And so if you want to do term, we can do that. And I can get you out the door in 5 minutes, and everyone, you guys are a happy camper. I'm a happy camper. Like we can go that route. But I'm here to take care of you. We walked through that of why a 20-year term doesn't make sense. But where we've left things off is I actually emailed them yesterday and talked about the idea of doing a term policy because we have the ability to convert it long term after, up to a certain period of time. So I'm waiting for a response from them, but essentially said, hey, I've got the solutions. Instead of fighting me, let me walk you through how we can solve these problems because I'm here to help you. So that's kind of where things are at now. So I'll kind of pause here. Do you guys have any direct questions that I can then kind of further expand upon?
I use Grok for all of my investment recommendations, so AI is fantastic. Yeah. Just kidding.
So Alec, from a process standpoint, they were wanting to go the cheapest route via term, and then you started with that as like your lead in to the VUL. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, yeah. So originally we were going to do a VUL and whatever it is that we end up doing, we'll figure it out. But I went in explaining there's four scenarios that we want to try and cover, and that the pension, if we're just looking at the pension, it only covers one. They both live a long and happy life. They both die super young. One dies before the other dies before the other. So those four scenarios. And I said, hey, the pension survivorship option only covers if the pensioner, the person that has the pension, dies before the spouse that doesn't have the pension. So in this case, the husband dies before the wife. So then I'm looking at her, which is the wife, and I said, I want to cover all four scenarios, and the survivorship option only covers one. I feel like at this point, they are kind of on the same page of understanding, hey, we need to do something. This, survivorship option, clearly Alec is showing us, hey, there's something that can be done that's better. It's just whether it's a term or a permanent policy. But she was very adamant that term and then investing that different amount was going to be the best. And so she had said that, hey, why, like, explain to me why we can't do that. And I said, well, hey, let's say we do get a term policy for 20 years. Well, Jenny, what if we don't have enough money set aside to take that money out and have that money to replicate whatever that death benefit would be? And she's like, well, we will, because we'll just every month we'll put this money into this investment account, no questions asked. And I've said, how sure are you? How much can you guarantee that you'll do that every month and never take anything out? And she just obviously couldn't say 100% certainty to that. And then I showed her like 20 years into the VUL illustration, hey, we've got 200 grand in there. I said, hey, at this point, we could take 200 grand. You see that net death benefit of like 400 grand? That is still there though. And so I'm clearly showing her the term doesn't allow for that, because if after 20 years and we don't renew it, it's gone. But also if we don't now have like 500 to 700 grand, and if we tap out of that. So I just walked through all these different scenarios. So every time that they had something to kind of kick back to, um, I was able to kind of respond. And the big thing was she had said, well, hey, I don't like you're showing this illustration till age 120. Like, I don't want to live until 120. And so I just said, okay, tell me exactly the day that you want to pass away, and we can plan around that. And that was kind of like what then led to, hey, like we don't know the future. And the
Mhm.
husband was like, I plan on hitting 110. So I don't know what you're talking about. She was like, I'm gonna die in my 80s. He's like, that's news to me because I'm gonna hit 110. And so just kind of got them talking. But all is said and done, the husband actually made a really, really good statement. So where we're at in this process, so for those of you in the future, He's retiring October 1st, and so he's going through the VA disability process right now. And so he knows what the pension's going to be, but he has no clue how much he's going to get from VA disability. And kind of that's the question mark. He might be getting $500 a month. He might be getting $3,500 a month from the VA. That's a big income cash flow difference. And so she had essentially kind of alluded to that, and his exact words were, boom, that's the hot button, is you're concerned about our cash flow. And I'm like, he needs to come on board with us. Like he can understand those, the psychological reasoning behind that. And so all of this comes down to he understands what's going on, and he made comments of, hey, Alec is here to help us. And if he's thinking that this permanent policy is the right move, then we should do that. And she was just absolutely convinced that we need to do another route. So that's why we're kind of leaving off with this. Let's just get a term policy and leave room for the ability to convert in the future.
Good job, Alec. Man, what I told him, maybe it was yesterday when he was telling me about this. I was just like listening to him go through all that. Maybe a sense that it's just, his command of like really finally understanding this concept is just allow him to put all of his energy into the signals and communicating and persuading that relationship. And that's what it is at the highest levels. And so the cool part about this business is once you learn that, you can just hit repeat again and again and again and again, as long as you want, and scale a business around that. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, if I can comment to that. So the other pension case that I'm working on that we did do we're doing an IUL in that case, but um I was having to do a lot of the prep work over the phone with Tyson on that one. And he had asked me in this case for that specific situation, the survivorship cost would be about 428 a month. And Tyson had just very simply asked me, like, give me logical key points that allude to why the IUL would be a better solution. And I just walked him through the cost of insurance, and hey, it comes to like it was like 226 a month or something versus the 430 a month. And his response was, that's all you need to know about it. That's all you need to know. And that was like the light bulb moment where I'm like, okay, sit me across 100 people that have a pension. Not to say that I'm going to close all 100 of them, but that helped me understand that's what I'm getting to, the how it earns interest, all that stuff. We've done that 1,000 times over. Some people are going to get it right away. Some I need to explain more. But all I'm coming in and doing is showing someone, hey, you have a cost associated with this pension survivorship option. Here's that same then number over here. It's a smaller number here. You get legacy, all this stuff, but we're comparing that number with this number, and that's all that I need to be able to then clearly articulate to the client, on top of how a normal insurance policy works over and above what we already do. But that was the light bulb moment for me. And I think because of that, that allowed for me to then walk into then this case last week with such confidence, because I don't want to say that like Oz gave me the seal of approval, but like he told me, hey, that's all you needed to know about Pension Max. So you're ready to go, and kind of got that like, okay. And that is why I think last week I was so confident walking into it.
Like, how do you apply that same mentality on everything we do, picking up assets and, selling variable annuities and long-term care, whatever it is? I think we all have choices to make how we spend some free time. And I don't think that everybody should have to do things exactly the way I do it. But I can tell you, like, I don't invest a lot of time and energy on if I had to name five like starters on any one NFL team for $100,000 in cash, I don't think I could do it. I don't play fantasy football. It's just never, I just don't care. Right. I'll have a game on in the background. I'll pay attention towards the end of the season, playoffs, whatever. But I don't get paid to invest time and energy into, following sports. And that's just an easy example to pick on, but we all have stuff. But I can't tell you how many probably several hours a week I'm consuming. There's a couple of podcasts that I consume every week. I mean, I've got a lot of time built in. I do a lot of intentional walks or stuff, time on a treadmill or time in my car. And so I just, especially on the weekends, I have time to catch up on like podcasts when I'm doing stuff, taking kids places. But we all have a choice on media. Do I binge watch stuff on Netflix, or do I find stuff that's actually interesting to me? And part of the journey is discovery. It's figuring out. I mean, there's a million podcasts out there, but I listen to market-based stuff, not like boring CNBC stuff, but like people in our industry. And the more you immerse yourself in how other people talk about markets and working with clients or talking about the Fed, and you start getting more. You build. Warren Buffett talks about building this knowledge base. I mean, he was crazy. I mean, he would spend dozens of hours a week just reading constantly. I mean, he'd read newspapers cover to cover. He'd read quarterly reports cover to cover. I mean, this guy was on a different planet, but he built this knowledge base over time that Warren Buffett kind of, before AI, he was kind of like an AI bot. Like his knowledge base was so much deeper than everybody else that he ever encountered. It became a major competitive advantage to quality decision making. So you think about our business, one of the reasons I'm so confident looking somebody straight in the eye and saying, hey, here's what my fee is, and here's why I think you should do this. And I mean, I've got a guy, he called me actually like right before I logged in the Zoom. He called me from a number I didn't recognize. It was his work. And so I answered it, and he goes, hey, this is Dan. And I'm like, crap, here we go. Like, he's calling to cancel tonight. And he's like, I'm just confirming our appointment tonight. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I've had kind of a rough couple of days. And so I think I sounded like a training associate with that enthusiasm. I was so surprised. I can't remember the last time a client's like called me to confirm. Maybe it's been an email or something. It's kind of funny. It's a newer relationship. It's a referral. But the guy's walking in with like $600,000 tonight and bringing his wife, and I met with him one-on-one last week. And anyway, it's like, it's just funny that stuff happens, but you guys build this knowledge base, right? And the more you get comfortable talking about what we do and how we do it, you're gonna magnetize people that want your advice. And along the way, you're gonna filter through a ton of people. Yes, I am right at, depending on probably what the market does today or tomorrow, $100 million under management. Added up over the weekend, it was 99 and change. And you guys, like, that's what I focus on. You know what I don't focus on? All the clients that have left me over the years, which honestly, relative to the clients I have, is not a huge number. But you're not going to do you're not going to do anything at any kind of scale without losing people along the way, I'm forced to start. The company asked me to do a pretty good speech at Exchange, and because it's got to go through ad review and all that. I'll tell you another time about last year and how I snuck things through ad review, but that's not happening this year. So they force you to basically prepare these things like way in advance, because you got to get your slide deck approved and all that. And so it's got me thinking about this stuff. And anyways, the idea is, you guys, like, you're going to have some setbacks. You're going to lose people. You guys, I've had more people quit my team than I've had stay on my team, right? That's the math. But isn't that true of like every other organization and enterprise in America? I mean, you all have businesses that are literally predicated on people that quit their employers and go for another opportunity. Like, the average American has like 11 jobs now, or whatever number of people have come up with, right? I mean, I don't think I'd convince anybody that that's a low estimate, or I'm sorry, a high estimate. And so more people are going to leave than stay. More people are going to quit than finish. But you can build a life beyond your wildest dreams on the people that stay. So fall in love, even though if it's hard at times, with the process of filtering through people, right? Fall in love with that. Keep your front door way bigger than your back door, and keep just building that knowledge base, right? Whatever that looks like for you, and figure out how to just add to that. And that's what keeps you kind of current and relevant. And I think that has a lot to do with those intangibles of whether a case tips in your favor or not, or a recruit tips in your favor or not. So that's what I hope you guys all do. But certainly proud of you, Alec. Anybody else with any thoughts or questions as we wrap up today?
I just think it's a testament to Alec on the relationship side of things, man. I mean, just the way just the way you approached it. I know I know your relationship personally, but yeah, just knowing that the information that you're sharing is for their benefit, and opposite of what took place with Tyson and my appointment on Wednesday or on Friday. Like, I still know that what we talked to this gentleman about would be the best case scenario for him, given what could take place in the next 30 years, which is what we don't know, right? So
Mhm.
kudos to you for covering all the bases.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I think Joe's going to take you in the field next time he's got a quality at bat. It's like, I want somebody that can close. All right. I appreciate you being in business with you guys. It is a great privilege, and let's keep up the momentum.